Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so a couple of things that I wanted to kind of reiterate and bring to everyone's, bring back to your attention on Service Titan. Done for now. When do we use done for now?
We're done.
What?
We're gonna go back to
After
No.
an estimate.
When do you use done for now?
After an estimate.
Never.
No.
No, when you're not going.
Never use it again, please. Stop using it.
Trick question.
Done for now is really a very, very, it messes everything up. It's only really supposed to be used in circumstances that are rare. And really, we didn't even used to have it. That's something new from when I used to use Service Titan. I called Service Titan and I talked to him on Tuesday. And I'm trying to ask him, what is this for? Why are you guys really using it? It's because it messes everything up. And this is how it messes it up. If you have an estimate and you do done for now, you can't reopen that estimate. You're done. Now, if you sold the estimate and you're doing the job, let's say it's a 5-day job or a project, that's when done for now really can be used. In between that, right? But really, it doesn't even need to be used. Because I asked him, I said, so why wouldn't you just reschedule that job? If I'm done now and I want to go back tomorrow, why don't I just reschedule for tomorrow? Because then everything stays the same in the system. Because if you had another estimate, for an example, let's say we had 5 estimates in a job, for whatever reason, some HVAC, some plumbing. And now we sold one of the estimates, and now we're going to go back and we may or may not know, we don't know what else we're going to sell, right? It hasn't gotten there yet. Who's this? That wasn't my phone, it's in yours. Now I want to sell another estimate, but if I've done for now, I may not be able to go in and reopen that estimate. I have to copy it and do a whole nother estimate. It kind of basically says I'm done for now. I'm not going to really do anything more at this time. Okay, so please just don't use that anymore. Just call up dispatch and say, can you reschedule my job for tomorrow at 8 or Friday at 9, whatever time it is, whatever day it is. It'll go on the schedule. It'll be there waiting for you. Make sure you tell them what notes to put in. I need to finish up the shower or whatever it is. Okay, that's it. Just tell them where you want it to go. Reschedule it and make sure the notes are in there. That's it. No more of that done for now crap. Okay, because it's just messing stuff up. And here's another thing when you do done for now. So I wanted to throw this out at you. So for an example, yesterday there was a job that Luciano was on. It wasn't a job, it was an estimate. Okay, so what does he do? He still thinks that there's a possibility it's going to sell, so he says done for now. So now that stays on yesterday's job because it's still in that day. If he were to come back and reopen it that day, we might be able to get it back open, but now it's today. So it doesn't show on his schedule today to even follow up. You know what I mean? There's nothing there showing him to do anything. Only reason I would know it was there is if I happen to go back to yesterday and see that there's a yellow little box there that says done for now. If not, it could be forgotten about. It could be, there's just so many reasons that we don't want to use that. But that's another one that I'm like, where did that job go? I thought that he's still trying to work on the estimate or see this and that. And it's just sitting there, done for now. So if he were going to get parts and the job was sold and he did done for now, and he comes back that same day and reopens it, different story. That's kind of what it's used for. Because maybe he had to go to another job in between, but he wants to reopen that job again after he's done with his other job. You know what I mean? We had an emergency, someone's flooding out, I gotta go, done for now. Go to that job, pick up some parts, do whatever I gotta do, come back, okay, now open this job back up. That's what done for now is really made for. Very rarely do you ever want to use that. So if you do want to use it, ask me first, so I can make sure. I'd still rather just reschedule it until later on in the afternoon. When I get done with that other job, that would make it so much simpler, because then you don't have to do all this messing around, okay? So that's kind of what's going to go on with that. I want to talk about the sales process a little bit, because we had something happen yesterday that could have been avoided, and potentially, and I'll say, I shouldn't say potentially, it did affect potential income for people in this room and also for the company, okay? So the channel leader, when we have a channel leader, on a job, and I know we have two sides of the company. We have the heating and air, and then we have the plumbing, right? If you have a channel leader for HVAC, let's say John's out to a call, he's with Renars, and they're working on whatever's going wrong with the customer's system, okay? There's two parts to this. The first part is, and I'm giving you just hypotheticals, I'm not saying anything specific that happens, but the way that sales process has to happen to begin with, I'm kind of going in two different places. I'm starting with just the HVAC, I'll come to the plumbing in a minute. When Renars is in there and John's in there and they're talking to the customer, it's really, really, really important for the conversation about technical things, the first conversation should be between just the tech and the channel. And why I'm saying that is because if, for an example, something's not working right in their HVAC system that needs some type of fix, the technician's going to be usually way more up on what needs to be done technically to fix the problem. Okay, it could be adding new vents, it could be the system's undersized, it could be whatever. But if I don't have heat in this room or there's no air coming out of here in this room, there's something going on. There has to be a fix for it. I don't care if it's a new system, I don't care if it's new ductwork, there's a way to fix it, period. The end, right? There's a way. That's the technician's job to talk to the channel leader about and say, okay, here's the options. There's no rush for the technician to get an estimate right now because I want this job. There's no rush. The more time he has to talk to the customer, the more time that the channel leader has to talk to the customer and get to know them and build a relationship, the better. That's his job. Let the technician take their time and give option A, B, and C. This might be a small fix. This is not going to really do everything you need, but it will be better. This is going to be a much better fix. It's going to be more money, obviously, but it's going to do this, this, and that. And this is the full-on Cadillac of the fixes. You won't have a problem ever again. And it may be way more expensive. I don't know. I'm not the HVAC guy checking this out. But whoever it is, if it's Mike or whoever it is, Ryan or Nars, you guys have got to come up with and be able to come up with the solutions to the problem. Now, once you've decided that, you call John and say, okay, John, let me show you what my options are to fix this. This is the small fix, this is the medium fix, this is the full-on Cadillac fix. They won't ever have a problem again. Then he's going to help figure out the pricing on that before the estimate's all done. Now, these are the things we've got to do. Let's get the pricing right so we make sure you make money, we make money, customer will then get those options. Now, once that's talked about, you cannot, as a technician, come in there and say anything else technical to the customer. The customer doesn't want to hear all the technical shit. They don't. Okay? They want someone to explain it to them in a way that they understand, because most customers aren't going to understand anything about, the whole technical aspect of it. But if you go back in there as a tech and you say, well, yeah, this is only going to maybe make a 5%, 10% difference. I don't think it's really going to do anything. What do you think the customer's thinking now?
Well, what if that's true? It's not going to make difference.
Then why would you give that option?
Well, I never gave that option.
I'm not saying that you gave anything. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is,
I know
it's your job as a technician to...
We can put it as an example, a whole situation.
Okay.
So, exactly in this situation, I was saving his ass, actually telling them that there can be 5-10% maybe difference.
Okay, so
Because
that's what I'm trying to say.
What's not going to work at all. I'm trying to do.
Then what is the fix? What's the fix?
Well, I told already that it need to be replaced. A lot of ducts need to be open valves. That's true. And,
Okay.
It's going to cost a lot, but
Did we give that to the customer?
we wanted. I was ready to give it, but I told it's like a lot. You need to calculate cost. It's not like we can give it right away.
Well, exactly, and I don't want you to give it right away.
Right.
My point is, in this situation being Renars, if you say something, that's only gonna be a 5, you're not, I don't want you to think of it, and maybe, this is for both him and for you, okay? I'm not doing it I'm not saying, Renard, you did anything wrong in the way that, other than that, then you don't say that in front of a customer.
Well, I'm trying to save situation. We selling job for 1800. I know it's not gonna make difference. He's telling him we're gonna change this duct here, and it's gonna make difference in that when we change out like 3 feet of duct. It's gonna affect you. She has no air in one vent. It's not. It's like
Let me
15 feet
interject
from there.
something.
It's not gonna make any change to that. I see. I'm trying to save him. I'm telling.
Okay, I understand what you're trying to
It sounds like he
do.
doesn't wanna sell crap, you know? If we're gonna sell stuff, we gotta sell stuff that's
Well,
gonna
we're gonna
actually
need to
fix the
collect-
problem.
I get it, and that's
one
true.
thing that
I'm not,
I think I
I'm
really
not
agree
disputing
with.
that, but that is a conversation that they have
Right.
away from the customer.
Well,
That's all I'm trying to say. So, he shouldn't be trying to sell anything to a customer until you guys have the conversation. This is my point. You guys have the conversations, okay, hey, I know you were talking about this vent over here, and he should go to you first and say, okay, so what, hey, Lars, this right here looks like this, there's heat coming in this closet, it's coming out of this closet. And there's not, it shouldn't be going through the vents, right? I mean, ask you questions and try to figure it out. And then you can say yes or no. Well, the real solution to this is adding this and that, because this isn't gonna make much of a difference. It's only gonna make 5% difference max, because yes, it's a problem, but it's a small space, so it seems like it's a big deal, but it's not.
This conversation and without customer, but I don't know why he didn't pay attention to
Let
that.
me interject something, Renard, okay? When we went into that job yesterday, and we were to just look at an HPC system, right? You opened up the closet, you looked at that, you said, I need another tool. You went down to your truck to get another tool. During the time you went to your truck to get another tool, I had already got signals from her on what she wanted. She wanted a 3-step process. She wanted a fix, the cheap fix, the second cheap fix, and the most expensive fix. When you came back, I asked her where the furnace was. She opened the thing, and we saw there was a gap between two ducts, and the air was coming out of there. And I'm not a technician, but I can tell you if those were together, more air would come out of the thing. You don't know if it's 5% or 10%. There was a gap between the one duct and the other duct. Bernard, listen, please. There was a gap between the 2 ducts. You showed me. If they, yes, you did. You have pictures. Show it to Ellen. But let me finish my conversation. The point is, I had extrapolated information from her while you were gone, signals, selling signals, buying signals from her.
Yeah.
She's going through a bad divorce. She's doing this. She's doing that. And she only has $4,000 in savings. She took a year to get. And she's concerned now because we're having our plumbing guys coming out later after our call. She wanted to make a decision based on what that cost was. And for some reason, she had $500 in her mind, and that came to $1,800. So now we gave her a cheap estimate to fix just the one step that she wanted, that one vent coming into where she watches TV. So now she's at $3,600 and her savings is
Okay.
gone.
All right. I don't want you to argue. So here's the problem, and I'm going to talk about the sales process too. The sales process was done wrong, okay? And this isn't to say anything bad about John. The sales process, the way that it's supposed to work is, and I understand, you said everything right in the beginning up to she had 3, she wanted good, better, best, basically. She wanted the all 3 options. We don't want to sell too quickly, just because we see the signs. What we do want to do is, all right, you know what? Let me go talk to the tech and let's figure out 3 options before before you actually go in and say $1,800 for an example. Because it needs to go then, once you talk to the tech and say, well, this isn't going to do much, maybe he tells you at that point it's going to be 5% fixed because, yeah, there's a gap, it's not very big, the closet's small, whatever that really is. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just trying to say that there was a gap. You can talk to him about that like you just did now. Hey, there's a gap there. Isn't that going to make more of a difference than 5%? You guys can talk about that away from the customer. But you need to have all 3 options, because when you present to a customer, you say, here you go, ma'am. Whatever her first name is, you try to use the first name, and then you go in. Okay, option 1, we were talking about there is a gap in there, and this is going on. and it's gonna be $1,800, but really, I don't think that's gonna fix your problem overall. It's gonna help some. I wouldn't even give her a percent, because we don't know. How does any of you know unless you actually hook it up and, you know, fix the gap and run this one little piece of ductwork or whatever? You're not gonna know unless you have measurements of, you know, the airflow and temperature and everything else at every vent. You're not gonna know what the percent of increase is. You start beforehand and then you go afterwards, and you can see what it was, but we're not gonna throw guesstimates like that. We don't know, but it will help, because you're not gonna have all the heat coming into this closet that shouldn't be coming here, it should be going everywhere else, right? Then you go to the second option. Now, I know you only had $4,000, Mrs. whatever her last name was, and this is gonna be about $3,000 for an example, right? But this really should make a huge difference, because, you know, you need more airflow over here, or whatever the case is. Now, reality is, maybe the third option is a bigger system, because it's not enough to push the air wherever it needs to go, with adding some new vents and, you know, whatever. But you give all three options at the same time, before plumbing even comes. Plumbing hasn't gotten here yet. So that's the first part of the system. For it to work properly, you have to get them. Now, she may pick the middle option because she's not going to go for the most expensive. She may not want to go for the thing that's not going to really fix everything for her, because why would you want to spend $1,800 if it's not going to really do it for you? I mean, it's going to fix this leak here in the closet. I don't know if it's going to really do what you want it to do, though. There's not enough ductwork, there's not enough vents, there's not enough whatever. So you want to give her those options. We want to be fair and honest to the customer. So I understand Renard's side, he's saying, you know, I don't want to sell her $1,800 if it's not going to fix it. And then she's going to be upset at us and say, well,
She's just not gonna pay because.
Yeah, there's no difference here.
Problem was that the vent there, and we fixed it.
But we would be fixing, hello, Renard's, we would be fixing the leak that's in the closet. That's not necessarily going to fix the other part.
Yeah.
But there's a leak in there. If you can feel air coming out inside when you're in a closet, then there's something wrong. So it's still a fix. So you don't need to take away from
No, I didn't.
from that.
I told her that's a good to fix that.
Okay,
We need to do that.
but you don't. What I'm trying to say is, you don't want to say in front of the customer, that's only a 5% fix.
Well,
That's a negative thing.
That was already at moment that she started to trust that that's gonna fix her
Right,
problem.
okay.
I need to tell her that we're gonna need to collect.
All right, so it's just the way that it's being said, and this is what I want you to understand. We basically lost everything there. We didn't get anything. Because now what we're doing is, you're undermining him in front of her, making him look stupid. He is, and by the way, I'm not trying to say he is stupid, but when it comes to being an HVAC tech, he's stupid like I am. I'm stupid. I don't have a clue about all the intricacies of that, and I know there's a lot of calculations that go into that and everything else. But what should be done is say, okay, so, ma'am, you have a leak here, and it's basically, for an example, Mike, tell me, you're in this as well. I just want to ask Mike as a second opinion here. If you open a closet and you see air coming out, how would you sell that to a customer? Not that it's going to fix the events. So if you're in this situation, just put yourself in a situation where you go in there
Customer
and
wants that closet fixed and that vent fixed, but they're two separate, maybe not tied issues.
right?
Well, that is a problem with your system, and we absolutely can fix that.
Okay.
I cannot guarantee that it will fix your vent problem. It will fix.
And maybe you can say it won't fix the vent problem.
Yeah, may not, won't, anything like that, and you're gonna direct it and go, there's a lot of damage to these ducts, and there's a lot more than just this issue to address.
Right.
If you want this issue addressed, I'll get you a price for this. And you leave it at that, because now she knows it's not fixing B, C, or D.
Right. It's only fixing the leak in the closet.
It's fixing
Right.
what you
So you
pointed
want,
out.
here's what I'm trying to get,
secondary
Renars.
estimate
Okay, here's what I'm trying to get
just for
at. Exactly.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to get at is this. Remember we talked the other day in the office, and we're talking about, everyone pay attention, please. We're talking about, when you get into a customer, you're doing an HPC, all right? And so Kevin was even telling me, you know, hey, I go in there and I see $2,000 right away, all right? Now, opening the closet and seeing something leaking, that might be our 2,000 right there. I'm not saying there's not a lot more work out there in that house, but we could get that 1,800. We could have gotten that 1,800 if we would have said, you know what? First of all, before we even go to your vents, this is an issue right here. As you're doing the HPC, this is something we need to fix.
And that's what I was telling her, that needs to be fixed. Don't turn everything around.
No, I'm not.
I
I'm not.
was telling exactly, you need to fix this one, it's good to fix, but it's not gonna solve your problems there.
Okay, so,
But instead he insisted, oh, that's gonna, telling her like, this is gonna fix, it's gonna be better air there. I know it's not gonna be better there, and she's not gonna pay after if you.
okay. So, but again, that conversation would be away from the customer is my point.
Right.
You guys understand that and you agree now? I mean, it needs to be away from the customer because what happened is the customer felt like, and maybe John's still learning too. I mean, you gotta take that into consideration. He's still learning HVAC and you know, he's putting his best foot forward. And I think it'll get better over time. But if you guys have that conversation prior to him actually saying, you know, because he's right, it does need to be fixed. But we don't wanna say, and he doesn't wanna say, it's going to fix other things yet. But here's what John was trying to do, because we had this conversation in the office. He was trying to get the customer to show him the vents in the house, the rest of them. Number of reasons for that. Are they dirty? Can you see dirt on the vents? How's the air coming out of them? Because he wanted to get more for the sale, potentially. Okay, that was his whole goal. And as soon as he said that, the customer said, well, yeah, you know, I have this problem and that problem, and there's no air coming out of here, and whoa, ching, 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 right? I mean, that's where the money comes from. So now, did John maybe, you know, say something that he wasn't really sure about? Sounds like maybe he implied that it might fix the problem more than it really would have to the customer. So that's one thing that we need to work on. But the other thing is the thing where you have a technician saying something in front of the customer to the channel leader that basically takes the sale away, which is something negative.
I just want to ask, in those situations, so I be quiet next time, and then if I see it's gonna be lies and it's not gonna work, so what we gonna do?
So
It's
no,
gonna
you don't.
be
I'm not
my
saying
fault,
in
right?
front of the customer you want to be quiet, and you say, hey, so you know what? We need to test something else first. Maybe you can say something like this. Hey, John, can we test this first because I want to, you know, and I want to talk to you about this or that. It could be going. We need to check the attic for the. Let's see what the ductwork is. We need to check this before we come up with a final number or final whatever. But the thing is that you want to get them away from the customer when you're going to talk about anything that's like
So
not.
there are too many situations like that where I need to do something, I can't pull him all the way away, so maybe we need just professional who knows what's going on with the system. So it's gonna be all the time like that. I feel those situations are a lot.
Okay, well, no, what I'm trying to say is the conversation, all I'm talking about is the conversation in ours, needs to be done. If you guys have the conversation prior to him actually
And that's what
selling
we
it.
did, and I told him the whole situation. We did kind of.
Did you have 3 options for fixing everything?
Yeah, we had.
And pricing and-
We had little bit time while customer was walking around house. We had little bit time and I tried to explain, that's not gonna fix, we need to cut a lot of holes and ductwork is not accessible in that house. So only option to fix that would be cut all holes. And he still wanted to go push on that small cell.
Well, I went off of what she told me, Bernard. She said, just give me the affordable option.
To
She
fix
didn't
when-
need to know from you that it was
She-
5% because you don't know if it was 5%.
Well, she wanted to fix only when, of course, we also advised to fix that one, but her problem only was when, so through that vent, you were trying to sell that one. How is it gonna work at the end when she need to pay and there is no still air?
Okay, what do you want to say, Sarah?
Is this the first call that he went on?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but he's been going with, and he's learning as he's been going with Kevin as well. So, okay, so let me just kind of, we can be sitting here talking all day about it, but what I want to try to do is get you guys to understand that, and on both sides. If the customer wants, if we find an issue, first of all, we want to let the customer know we found an issue. We don't want to get in all the technical stuff about what's going to fix and what's not going to be fixed until and walking around the vents is part of the process and seeing the vents and checking it, and this one doesn't work and that one doesn't work. Okay, so let me get you an option for this to fix the cabinet. Let me get you an option to fix the cabinet as well as the, adding some vents or whatever we got to do this because, let me talk to my technician, see what it's going to take, time and all that materials. And then, like I said, if we have to replace the system as well, then we can go to that third option, whatever that may be. All that stuff, when you talk about it, make sure that you as a technician or NARS or Mike or whoever it is, Ryan, you guys explain to him, okay, I don't think this is gonna fix this issue, but it's gonna fix this. I'm not saying you didn't do that, I'm just explaining, let's make sure this is how we do it going forward. This is what we gotta do to fix just the closet, and that's all it's gonna fix. It's really not gonna make a difference over here, so make sure the client knows that. That's what you would talk to John about, so John understands that. Number two, to fix both, fix the closet and fix add the ductwork that needs to be done on here, I'm gonna have to take drywall out, this and this and that, it's gonna take this much time, this is the price on that. And then have a third option. So I would wanna see in your estimates, at least those two, right? Because you're also checking the age of the unit and so on. If it's gonna be replaced, maybe we need a bigger system because we're adding more vents and that's not gonna be big enough to handle, that much flow of air. I mean, I know the basics of air conditioning, but I mean, again, I'm not gonna tell you what percent, what's gonna fix what, because I don't think that's a realistic thing to do. But you don't ever say anything and deter from either one of you should say anything negative to the customer to try to take away the sale. It's all about, yeah, we can fix this, and we can fix this, and we can do this. These are the things we can do. We don't wanna say it's only gonna do this, it's not really gonna help that, or you know what, that kind of terminology, you just don't want to use that in front of a customer. Between yourselves, sure.
With ductwork, I do believe we have a duct tester, do we not? That blower door tester, where we can actually test the airflow in the ducts, just like the HERS testers do.
Mhm.
You block off all the registers except for one, just like you're doing a duct cleaning, and you put this blower onto the system. So you cut the return off, shove this thing on there. It puts a set amount of air through the system, and you measure it at the other end. And let's say it's an 8-inch duct, it's supposed to pull 160 CFM at X static pressure. I'm putting it through there, and I'm losing, and it'll tell you, because you'll know what's coming out of that vent, how much percent you're losing throughout that entire run getting to that vent.
But would you know that without doing that test? Would you know that just by saying, well, if I hook this up, let's see what the percentage is going to be different? You probably wouldn't.
You can and can't, because I do have a couple of meters that I can measure airflow in the
Right.
ducts or out the
No,
registers.
I'm talking about guessing.
Just ballparking? I mean,
It can get tough.
It's like flipping a coin, and it may only be he may have been right on. Maybe it was 5%, maybe it was 10%, maybe it was 1%.
Right. I mean,
Ironically,
but
5 or 10%
That's why
is
I
a
didn't
lot.
tell
Yeah.
her exactly
It is a
it's gonna be 5. I said it's gonna be small change.
Yeah.
She asked how much, and I said maybe 5-10%, but actually I was
Just building
being
blocks.
too positive. They're not gonna be 5% change.
And,
There is not gonna be change at all. I'm just
5 or 10%
saving
is a
his
massive
ass.
amount, that's not.
Yeah.
So it sounds
I'm
like
just
to
saying we
me,
can
because
verify
I've
our
been in John's
findings.
position, where
Uh-huh.
I used to just close all these sales for
Right.
other technicians. From what I can see, it was not the technical aspect, because you're right, customers don't really give a rat's ass about that.
Nope.
It was the whole sales process. And I think for a lead, for the channel leader and the technician, for that to work, there's gonna have to be a relationship, and there's gonna have to be like trust.
Yep.
That sounds like it's gonna be very difficult to close sales without you guys being on the same page and flowing into each other's.
Yeah, that communication between the tech, and that's my whole point, guys.
Yeah,
The
that's
communication
where
between the
it's
tech and the
bigger.
sales
It's
is
huge.
so important.
It's critical.
Because John is great with customers, and I've heard this from Kevin. I mean, he's been, I've heard from a few different people. He's really good at setting up, even Renar said it. He said, hey, he's really good with, making the relationship with the customer, talking to him and all that, which is great. He learned all kinds of stuff about this lady, which
Right.
no one really wants to know, because we're not here to be your best friend. But that part he's got down to a T.
Because we all know Renars knows his stuff technically. He's
Yeah.
a freaking HVAC tech. He's
So-
badass. All the customers I know that he's like, they're always like, I want him because he's really good.
So, but you guys hear my point though, and Sarah's right. You guys have got to communicate and be on the same page before the sale even starts to be, or the estimates are even given out. That has to be done.
And when I used to close jobs, I had that respect from the guys that were flipping it to me. Because they knew that I knew my shit too. So
Right.
that really helped me get that respect, because it's like, bro, they knew that, okay, Sarah's coming, I'm gonna sell this, but not only am I gonna sell it, they can respect, my knowledge too. So I think that's really important. And even though he doesn't know anything about HVAC, somehow we've gotta kind of gain that respect towards the channel leader. Whether
Right.
it's because he's really good at sales or HVAC, whatever, there's gotta be a certain respect.
And guys, that's why he's here. He's here for sales. He's here to get people to feel comfortable with them, to know that our technician, Bernard's, Mike, whoever it is, Brian, you guys know what you're doing. They're gonna give us some options here, and then I'm gonna propose them to you, and we're gonna see what's the best fit for you. That's what he's doing. That's it. He doesn't have to know everything about it, but you have to keep giving him the information, what is gonna fix what. Because we don't want to talk negative in front of a customer, ever, okay? The only things you're gonna say is, this is what needs to be fixed to do this, fix this problem. How much is this gonna do? I can't tell you right now unless we do some other testing. That can be a way of saying it, right? You don't have to say, we need to do a little, and Renars could have said, for an example, we can do a test that would find out how much that'll change. I'm just throwing something out. But right now, the main thing is we need to fix this. That's how he's backing up him, and he's backing up him. This closet, it's an issue. Now, why is this closet an issue? If we have a gap, I don't care if it's a 1-inch gap or a 1/2-inch gap, and we have air leaking out, and you can feel the air coming out of a unit in a closet, why would you have to fix that? Why would you tell the customer that's important to fix? First of all, they're wasting money.
Which she told us.
They're wasting money. It's not efficient at all. Okay, how much more efficient is it going to be? I can't tell you right now, but I can tell you this. This is waste. You're heating up a closet, and the rest of your house is not being heated properly. That's the first step. So we need to fix this. That's step one. Either way, if we just fix this and we don't fix the other issues because we need to add vents, we still need to fix this. And that's how you need to kind of punch home almost, so you get at least that. Because the minimum we want is that repair that needs to be done right now, right? You've been living without this other vent that's in your house, and you may not be as comfortable as you want, but this needs to be fixed because you're wasting energy. It's not where it needs to be. So that's what I mean, where you two need to communicate that way in front of the customer, where it's all positive. This has to be done, has to be done, has to be done. We need to get this this has to be fixed. You need to fix this. Those are the kind of words that you need to be throwing. Not, well, it's only going to do a 5%, or it's only going to do a 1%.
It wasn't like that.
No, I'm just saying,
told,
but it's a negative thing, is all I'm saying. I'm not trying to put you down, Renars. I know that wasn't your intent at all. I'm just saying, if you say it's only going to do this, 5%, now she loses the thought process of saying it needs to be fixed.
But
Because-
that could have been something that possibly could have been redeemed, right? Because we all say, sometimes people say, I've said shit.
I don't say anything.
Yeah, you're
I've never done
I've
something.
said things that may have
Sure,
put
sure
me
wasn't
in the
it.
corner, but you
That's
can get
the
yourself
issue.
out of it
Yeah,
if you stay positive.
The whole point is, and you know what, in reality
In
is,
reality,
Okay,
sometimes you
everybody.
say something that might slip because that's what was in your mind.
Yeah.
You know damn well you shouldn't have said it.
Right.
But you could easily redeem
go back and
yourself.
say, but you know what?
Yeah.
That's not going to fix this. Like I said, it may only be a 5% difference, is what I'm trying to say. So let me
Right.
reiterate.
That happens with me all
This
the
still
time.
needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
This
anyway.
still needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And we
And I
exactly
could've been-
told her that, and she was agreed, and we almost sold job. Only thing I think problems that John didn't secure that
Right, I
payment,
think you two didn't
and
know
we,
what you were,
we
it
didn't
wasn't.
sell at that point.
Right, well, I hadn't even gotten there yet because we haven't gotten to the plumbing part, and I'm already over. But I want to say this. So then what happened was he got a verbal commitment from her, but didn't get a signature. Now John hasn't his capability on his iPad, and he hasn't done this yet. He can get her signature right there. He can go into the job. All he has to do is be assigned to it. He has to learn that process, and he can get a signature and say, okay, we'll be out tomorrow morning. We're going to start it. Now at least we have a signature. We can get her deposit. We have all of that. Now we have a commitment from the client. All right? That's the other part of it. Because then plumbing comes out.
And plumbing's gonna go hit him.
And plumbing's going to hit him like they're real. This and that.
That's because they got fear of loss with you guys.
Well, there's a lot
If you
more
don't
plumbing
fix this,
issues.
your whole house is gonna be underwater. Oh my God, I lose my house.
No, but my point
That's
is,
the unique situation.
Okay, so hold on,
guys.
okay, calm down. So then plumbing.
As he said, plumbing's gonna go over there.
Okay, come on. Plumbing comes in, and they should be doing the same process. Then, if we have to do something, here's the other thing is, plumbing should know, because if he already knew that plumbing was coming out, So he should have, and probably will in the future, get a hold of whoever that tech is. You get a hold of dispatch. Who's going out to this call for Mrs. Jones today? And you say, oh, Luciano and Phil are going out. Okay, great. Call Luciano and Phil. Hey guys, we just sold this, so be real careful. She doesn't have a lot of money. She has $4,000 in savings. He gives them the information that they need. She's kind of, maybe she's a little sketchy on this and that, and she's already a little upset about how much money she's spending. So be careful and be cautious with her. Let me know before you actually give a price what needs to be done. Because John can get involved in that too at that point. He's already built a relationship and so on. And now Luciano, a whole different personality, is coming in there, like you said, and we're going to get our number. We don't give a crap about HVAC side. That's what happens. They don't care about HVAC. They care about what their own paycheck, right? And if they see things that need to be done, they're gonna try to go after it. So now what happened, and that's exactly what happened. So Luciano went after his $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, and now she's like, oh my gosh, I got $1,800 here, and the first thing she thinks of is, well,
Did I really need
the HVAC is only 5%. It's only gonna make a 5% difference. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I need to do the plumbing because I want hot water.
It was
Right?
a really unique situation.
So you guys, there's all these
that's a
little
difficult
things.
one because
There's all
that
these little
happens.
things
You can't really
that
go
are
back
in there,
to
and so I'm trying to throw out all of them so you guys get
Offer
it.
financing.
First of all, first part of the process.
I did do
That's
that.
something where you team up.
Yeah.
That's where the plumbing-
But if John stayed in that whole process,
Yeah, you gotta team up.
Right.
Yeah, we've teamed up.
That's the first thing I would have
so
said
guys,
was-
if John would have stayed in that process because he knew that the lady was sketchy about the money and everything else, and he knew plumbing was coming out, then that's when John could have and should have gotten involved with Luciano and maybe been out there and teamed up with it and said, okay, you know what, yeah, you got more issues with plumbing than I thought.
Yeah.
You thought $500 on this or that, and we got this issue. We have to fix this because the closet's leaking air, and that's not good, right? What is heating and air
Luciano
with
has
humidity?
to kind of vouch on that too, be like,
Yeah.
you do need to get that done.
Exactly.
So let me see
It's
if I can
all
do
a team
something
thing.
here,
And
right?
I offered her synchrony, but she says, oh God, I just spent the last year paying off all my bills and I'm not gonna go into debt anymore on payments. So I did offer her that option because I thought,
money
well,
back
this
on your
could be.
taxes?
But when
We
you're
offer
saying
a
it's
deferred
cash,
payment.
you can do that.
And you can do 0%, guys. Hey, we have
0%.
programs that are 0%, and we can say, hey, you know what? I can get it's a small payment. There's all kinds of ways you can do it. But let me ask you a question: with that heating closet, heating and air. Let's just say that the heating right now, because that's what we're dealing with. What does that do humidity-wise to a room that has a leak that just has hot air going into it and it's closed off? What does that do?
Dry.
It's drier.
Okay, so what does that do?
Makes you uncomfortable, screws up your sinuses. I can go on and on and
Oh,
on.
yeah.
There's all kinds of things you can say, right?
It makes
Better
you
air
sick.
quality.
Can make you sick. I mean, there's all kinds of things we can throw in there, but I'm just saying, so when we explain things to customers, what's going on, what could happen, what is happening, what might happen, all of those things, the bottom line is we need to fix it. So you can give them reasons, we need to fix it. And now we have plumbing, we need to fix it, right? And so now, because then John in the beginning of that say, normally this would be this price to do both of these, $3,700, whatever it is. But you know what? I know you're in a situation financially, I can give you a couple of options. Number one, I'm going to give you a 10% discount on the whole package, for an example, right?
Right, something like that.
Some off of each.
Mhm.
That's one thing. He does that up front, rather than the customer went in this roller coaster ride
Right.
because she started off with already this issue she didn't know she had and wasn't going to spend with HVAC. She thought she was going to do a small little just service, and now she's got plumbing. We add it all together, and it's this extraordinary price, and you got two different personalities in there. You got all of these things that basically stopped this from happening. Okay, so we probably lost both of them because of it. Rather than what we could have done is all work together as a team, both
Right.
sides.
Gotta have that
Let John's already built a relationship with the customer and already got her a verbal on one, if not already could have had a signed. Then we could have gotten in and said, okay, I'm going to be here when the plumbers get here, Mrs. Jones, because I want to see what's going on as well, and we want to take care of you. That's something that could have very easily happened. It didn't. So I want us all to learn from it. That's the bottom line. I just want us all to learn from it and say, okay, going forward, the way we communicate in front of the customer is very important. And the way that you communicate as a tech and a salesperson, very important. Make sure you understand everything as a salesperson. and as the tech, how it's gonna be presented, okay? All of that's important. So, and then if we know plumbing's coming out, get involved with that person so that they know that, hey, this is where I'm at already, she's kinda sketchy, so I don't want you going in there and throwing pricing out, let me be involved. Because as the tech coming in, if he's already got a relationship, the chances are better of you getting that sale. If you don't know what's going on, you have a chance, like what just happened, you can ruin both. So, I know it's
Ruin both?
I think we have, I think we lost both.
The thing is, I respect all of you guys' skill sets because I've seen y'all, and Renar's included, you guys are great. And I'm not on the technical side, so I'm learning as we go. That's why I ask a lot of questions. I'm going to the AC Pro classes, I'm doing whatever I can. I've been here 10 days, okay? So I'm trying to learn this stuff, you know. On the sales side, if I can get in front of the customer with some basic knowledge, I can sell the job. But again, this isn't a finger pointing thing, it's just more of a come together because the process is new for all of us.
Right, and
That's
it's something
right.
that we all
You
do.
know.
That's why we need the talking between.
Right.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
that's
Because
what
we've
we're
been on
doing.
jobs like that.
That's what we're
Right,
doing
like
here
what you do,
because,
you gotta do.
you know, we're trying
Like, I'll come
to,
back later.
I'm okay.
Okay, guys.
He can sell
I mean, let him finish speaking, because I don't want
anyway,
you guys to have a
yeah, I
conversation
just,
between.
you know, I respect all you guys, plumbing and HVAC side. You guys, you know, you have a job and we have a product and we have a family business that's been around for a long time. And I think we can knock it out of the park. I'm new, I don't know you guys that well, but I've seen your skill sets and you guys are off the hook good, everybody. So just feed me as much info as you can, let me do my job, you do your job, come together, communicate, and I think we will have a really good year, you know?
Yeah, guys, we're not, everything's not gonna be perfect, and that's why we have these meetings. Really it is. If something happens, I want everyone to know about it, so we can make it better next time. That's all. It's not, I don't bring you guys in here just to bring you in here because I like to see your faces and that's it. I mean, I want you guys to learn
So I
something.
thought you just missed us.
Oh, I do, yeah, every day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But if there's any,
Every other day.
if there's anything that if there's anything that we can do to make each other better, that's what this is for. That's what this time is for. All right, so let's leave it at that. We do have a pretty good day today, pretty busy day for most of you guys, so let's make the most out of every call. If you need a channel, call, and let's get it going. Let's make it happen. All right? Cool. Thanks, guys.
It's gonna get a lot of views today.